Anyone that I've spoken to has raved about this wing, and I think it's a great next step for me. I just wanted to check in with you guys and share that I did receive a new glider. I put the better part of 8-9 months on an A-rated beginner wing, and now I'm getting ready to step up to the next wing. It is the Ozone Spyder 3. Very cool. Okay, so we have the speed bar. Wow. I didn't actually remember exactly what the colors were. I knew it was blue and green. Okay, so here's the riser bag. Now once I take this apart, I will never get it back down this small again. There's the shark nose technology. The Spyder 3, people were already reviewing it by the middle of 2019. Here we are a year and a half later after plenty of people have reviewed it. Now I've spent some time today and last night with the manual, and you can download the manual from the Ozone website, and some really great information. But I think, you know, just to kind of summarize, when they're talking about this wing, they're describing it as a lightweight version of the Roadster 3, fun, safe, easy to use, right? Specifically aimed at newly qualified pilots, but also suitable for a wide range. They talk about this wing having a combination of 2 types of material so that it can be both lightweight and durable. You know what, let me pause there and put some of the technical stuff from the manual at the end of the video. I want to share with you my review of the Ozone Spyder 3.
How many other wings have you flown?
Well, 1.
Can you really do an informed review then?
I want to talk to you about the performance of the Ozone Spyder 3.
What kind of maneuvers are you really doing on your paramotor? Aren't you just a straight and level flyer?
I want to talk to you about how I'm stepping up from my beginner wing.
Aren't you just moving from one beginner wing to another beginner wing?
I want to share with you my thought process behind choosing the Ozone Spyder 3.
Completely unremarkable choice. The Ozone Spyder 3 is perhaps the most common beginner to intermediate wing on the market.
I give up.
Noob.
Okay, so I'm kidding around a little bit about my choice in the wing, reviewing the wing, and all that stuff. But the truth is, I did put a lot of thought into that next step for me, moving up from that A-wing that I trained on from the beginning of 2020 and looking into my second year of paramotoring. Where do I want to be? What's going to help me progress? And what has kind of the features and characteristics that I'm most looking for? So, for one thing, I was beginning to learn that that A-wing, as stable and safe as it felt, there are times when it's less maneuverable than I wish it would be, particularly in tight quarters, let's say around trees or within my field here. It's nice to be able to have a little bit tighter turn radius, and I think that'll actually add some safety. You couple that maneuverability with the safety factor in the Spyder and the longer trim ranges and the ability for me to progress over time, it's going to be a win all around. It's going to allow me to progress through a lot of different skills in the coming year. And at that point we can reassess, see where we are, and think about, is there a next step, or is this a wing that I really love? I think some of my basic principles have been around putting safety first and taking my time through this process and actually enjoy every step of that. With this wing, spending time reading the manual, take the wing out, kite. Anyway, guys, let's go get up in the air. Come join me for this flight. The smoothest day. The forecast is for the stronger winds to be above 1,000 feet. I thought I could get some smooth air down here in a couple hundred feet today. I was eager to get up my new wing. Well, it does feel a little bit smoother right there. So one of the things that I'm eager to do is to spend some time at different trim levels, going into the wind and with the wind, comparing the speed to see what the difference is between this wing and my A wing. I've been thinking quite a bit about this Spyder, and I was also between a 22 and a 24. And when Tucker announced that he's going to begin dealing with Ozone wings, I just wondered, you know what, maybe that's my sign. And I did reach out to him, and he was really helpful to me. I've always found him to be credible, and I think what he tells us about equipment is pretty authentic. He was really good to work with. I appreciate what he did for me to help me get the right equipment here, and help me get some pretty sweet colors too. So you do have to wait, I think they said 30 to 40 days for custom color or something along those lines. When I bought my first wing, my instructor asked what color scheme I wanted, and I just told him whatever's available. I really didn't care, I just wanted to be in the air. But this time I thought I'd put a little more thought into it. Now I've trimmed from the slow setting to the neutral setting on the red line. You can see how swollen the river is. We've had a tremendous amount of rain in the past couple days. See air traffic coming. I'll just dip down for a moment here. Our final approach here. I'm hoping that we don't get too much rotor as we dip down closer to tree level. The wind is not feeling that strong right now anyway. I think it's probably 4 miles an hour. So anything we should feel here should be pretty limited. Feels pretty fast. All right, not perfect, but hey, successful flight. I'm glad to get my new wing up and start to become familiar with it. We've had some wonky weather lately, including really high winds, and so there have been days and days where I haven't been able to get up in the air. Hoping that we can have a little bit better weather coming up in the near future, and I can spend some time becoming familiar with this wing and share that with you guys. Give up.
Noob.
Nailed it. Okay, for anyone else who wants to see a little bit more about this Ozone Spyder 3 or hear about some of the more technical aspects from the manual, check this out. They talk about this wing having a combination of two types of material so that it can be both lightweight and durable. And so they talk about the strong and UV resistant Dominico N20D combined with long proven Porsche Skytex 27 GR. So I'm not familiar with those materials. I think people who have been around paragliders for a long time understand what's going into this wing. But for me, for kind of the layperson making the decision about, hey, do I want to go with a more durable material or do I want to go with the more lightweight? The fact that I'm always launching off of soft grass, I'm not in the desert environment with a lot of sand and rocks or twigs. I felt comfortable going with this, and I think what I've heard is not only are the launch characteristics really pleasant, easy to get the wing up overhead, easy on nil wind launches, but also the flight characteristics may be slightly different as well. I think some of the other features that Ozone would tout about this wing is that shark nose reflex profile, and it's described as being very collapse resistant even in turbulent air. Ozone talks in the manual about the risers featuring long range trimmers. All right, so when it comes to the risers, okay, this is going to look a little bit different to me. So it's part of the speed system. Feels solid, well constructed. Oh, here's your tip steering. It has its own magnet there. Wow, that is strong. And it also has a bungee so it doesn't get away from you. And here are your brakes. Okay. Yeah. That feels legit. And when it's all the way in, that's in the slow position. And in the manual, the standard slow trim setting is ideal for climbing under power or free flying while the air is turbulent. Alright, so to increase your speed, you can either use the accelerator system, right, the speed bar, or you can release the trims, or you can do both. Using the speed system has exactly the same effect as releasing the trimmers. Unlike some other PPG wings, it's safe and possible to fly the trimmers in the standard slow position whilst using the full range of the foot-operated speed system. However, when flying faster by accelerating further with the speed system, directional control should be maintained with the tip steering. Okay, so if you're on bar, you don't want to be using your brakes, you want to be using your tip steering. Tip steering allows for precise handling without the need for brakes. When I was looking to get my very first wing, I had the option to purchase a wing that was similar setup to this with tip steering, and I chose to go with a traditional ENA rated beginner wing just because of the simplicity. I had no tip steering to worry about. I didn't have to worry about going on speed bar and stalling the wing by using my brake. I could always use the brake at any arrangement. They talk about familiarizing yourself with the glider, doing practice inflations, ground handling with and without motor, your first few flights. Do everything in a very progressive manner so that we're not yanking and banking on our very first flight. Pre-flight checks, launching, some of those launch characteristics, and then things about the climb out, the normal flight, turning, active flying. In turbulent air, the shark nose ozone reflex profile is very stable. It'll resist reasonable levels of turbulence without pilot input. The faster the wing is flown, the more inherent stability there is, as the reflex has greater effect. Using the speed system has the exact same effect as releasing the trimmers, and so it's safe and possible to fly the trimmers in a slow position whilst using the full range of the speed system. In mild turbulence, it may be best not to attempt to fly the wing actively and let the profile absorb the turbulence itself. In strong turbulence, Ozone recommends to always return the trimmers to the slow neutral position and fly under the glider actively. This way, you'll be in the best position to react correctly should an incident occur. So even though the reflex profile may be more stable in turbulent conditions, if there were a collapse, it may be a more dynamic collapse, and it may be harder for you to recover. If you were trimmed all the way to the slow position and there were a collapse, it may be less of a turn, for example, and the wing may pop back open. You'll also be prepared to actively steer. They go on to actually talk about different descent techniques, big ears and spiral dive, beeline stall, all good things to know and learn, some of which I'm saving for a SIV clinic because I want to do it under instruction. Talk about a deep stall, parachutal stall, flying in the rain. They show care and maintenance section, including how to pack up your wing. You never want the glider to crash down on the nose. It could actually put quite a bit of strain on the wing and the stitching, and it can even explode cells. Do not recommend that you clean the wing, but if you have to, use a soft cloth, dampen with a small amount of water, and use gentle movements, little by little. But some really good information, and they go on and have the line diagram. Other specifications, this is the 24 meter. The projected area, about 21 meters, flat area, 24 meters. The flat aspect ratio, 5.1. And the weight range for PPG is listed as 65 to 120. Here's your tip, steering. This will be your B lines, including the stabilo, which is indicated in green. Your C lines and your D lines. These are your brakes, yellow. So we read that this is the slow position. The red indicates a neutral position, and you can see the trim range here. And you'll be able to quickly pull that back in. Alright, so let me set these risers aside for a moment. Let's take a look at the wing, because these are custom colors that I ordered, and I'm excited to kind of see let's take a look. So it looks similar to my existing wing. You can feel the support in there. You can get a sense there of the color. So we have blue to yellow, green to white. And wow, that's going to look awesome. I can't wait to see that. It's quite unbelievable how thin that feels to me. But yeah, beautiful wing, and I can't wait to get this thing up in the air. I've kind of committed to myself that I'm going to spend a lot of time doing ground handling. I'm going to be really deliberate with my process of kind of feel really comfortable before my first flight. They actually alternate. See, this one closes and then opens here. That's a 3-inch opening, and then it curves. It's about a 3-inch opening, maybe just shy of a 3-inch opening. Let's check the center of the wing, and that's just over 3 inches. You can see that it kind of tapers down as you approach the tips here. And I guess that's not too different from what we see here on this Air Design wing.